Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the live stream here on the channel. Hopefully everybody's having a great day so far. Let's see what we have in the stream today. So far, we have Caleb, Catman, Sam, Tornado Man, Jake, Nebraska, Jim, Maury. We also have, let's see, Storm Dakota, Randolph, Brian, Proxy, and I saw one more person. I know I skipped someone. Storm Tracker 360. Welcome to the live stream. Glad to see you guys all in here, as well as everyone else who may just be watching, not chatting. Glad to have you here as well. Not really a whole lot to go over in this live stream, but still wanting to go over these severe threats. So let's go ahead and switch on over to our main scene. Hopefully the date is correct. November 16th. I think that's the date. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive onto this. We'll just start with our SPC outlooks here on Radar Omega. So for today, not much severe weather expected anytime soon for, later on tonight. We have 2 general thunderstorm risks, so mainly just some rain showers, but not really anything severe for today. Tomorrow, we've got a slight risk for severe weather, so you can see that slight risk there in the yellow. That's a level 2 out of 5, so you have a level 2 out of 5 here, and a level 1 out of 5 in that dark green as well. We do have a more heightened risk for tornadoes tomorrow. They actually introduced this at the 1730Z update, so the afternoon update. They introduced that 5% chance for tornadoes, and then of course we have that bigger 2% chance for tornadoes around that. Damaging winds will also be an issue, big 15% chance there, and also some large hail, 5% chance for some large hail, up to probably an inch or 2 in diameter, and I believe I just unplugged a USB there. I sure did. All right, I plugged that back in. And then as we go on into day 3, this is into, oh geez, what is it? What day is it today? I think it's a Saturday, so this would be Monday's severe threat. This is going to be for Monday, where we also have that slight risk and a very, very big marginal risk around that. Give me just a moment to grab something. There we go. Much better. Much better. Okay. So yeah, that's Monday's threat for severe weather. Big marginal risk there. There's 2 areas. Well, technically 3 areas we're watching. We're going to watch this area in the very early morning hours on Monday. Then, as we go into the afternoon hours, we're going to start watching into Kansas and Oklahoma, northern Oklahoma, as you go into like Monday afternoon, early evening Monday. And then as you go towards the evening hours, you're going to start watching probably down here in Louisiana and Texas. So there's going to be three different areas for severe weather, three different areas where we could see some small hail, damaging winds, and then, of course, a tornado will be possible in all three of those areas as well. In between those areas, that marginal risk is probably mainly going to be for just isolated damaging winds. So I don't think Monday will be a big day, and I don't really think tomorrow night will be the biggest day either. We'll go ahead and dive on into our model data right now. So this is going to be College of DuPage here. College of DuPage, best site for model data in terms of severe weather. And we could take a look at the HRRR now because we're finally in range within 48 hours of our severe weather event. So if we pull this all the way out, this is all the way until midnight. This is midnight Eastern time, and this is what the radar could look like tomorrow, where we just have a very broad area of moderate to heavy rain showers and then some rain showers out in front of that heavier band of rain showers. And then as you go towards 1, 2 a.m., that's when your severe threat's going to start kicking up, damaging winds, some small hail, and definitely the threat for some embedded tornadoes as we go towards 3, 4 a.m., technically early Monday morning. Pushing that forward even more here, going towards the very early hours of Monday. Still, this is about 7, 8 a.m. We could still have that tornadic threat and damaging wind threat ongoing as that line continues to push eastward towards 10 a.m. now. That's why they have that slight risk for severe weather in effect towards the DFW area for what's left of what that line should bring overnight, tomorrow night into Monday morning. Could linger in, a tornado threat, damaging winds, maybe some very small hail as well. And then as we go towards the afternoon hours, this goes all the way till 2 p.m. Eastern. There's two key areas that we want to watch around this time frame. One is a little bit off your screen. I'll zoom in a bit for you there. One is up here. This is going to be in a very small, warm sector that could clear out as we go towards 2 p.m. Monday afternoon. We could see a brief spin-up tornado, some isolated damaging winds, and some very small hail in that area. And then the next region is going to be further to the south, out in front of this weird line you see here on the HRRR model, just out in front of that. This is going to be where your main open warm sector will be. So if we switch to instability, you'll see that large area of instability. If I could push forward more, you would see it progress more eastward there, but generally just a large area of instability that would be available for thunderstorms there after 2 p.m. 2 p.m. and after is when that threat should kick up out here in Louisiana, eastern Texas, maybe southern Arkansas, southwestern Mississippi, Monday afternoon and evening. So like I said, three areas to watch for Monday. You got that leftover squall line that will go through the DFW area in the very early morning hours. I mean, we're talking for the DFW area, it would probably be between, let me go up a little bit. Okay, it'd be between like 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. Central time for you guys. And then we'd stay clear, not really much severe weather activity for about 4 or 5 hours until finally we see that threat start to kick up in the Oklahoma-Kansas border, and then that threat further to the south, closer towards Louisiana, Mississippi, and Arkansas for Monday. So not really the biggest threat for severe weather. Our trough looks to still be pretty poorly timed. If we take a look at the NAM at 3K, or rather just the NAM model, normal NAM model, that's your big negatively tilted trough ejection there, and it really doesn't become really negative here until probably 3, almost 4 a.m. Is when this trough really gets towards a negative tilt, and that's when your severe weather threat's going to rapidly increase on that eastern or top right exit region of your trough ejection. So definitely Definitely a good setup for spin up weak tornadoes, some small hail and damaging winds. But something like significant tornadoes or long track tornadoes or, something very notable doesn't appear likely with this setup. Limited instability is going to be your big factor here. But there's definitely something you don't want to overlook, and that's a low instability, high shear environment. It's actually the other way around. They call it high shear, low cape, is what weather enthusiasts call it. Um, so it's going to be basically. Um, I'm trying to think of a better way to put this, but just these storms are going to have a limited amount of fuel, but they'll be able to rotate easily. So they're really going to be able to, if they could get into that atmosphere and hold on to the little instability they have, they'll be able to produce a couple weak, brief spin up tornadoes. So if we look at wind shear, wind shear, it's not going to be a problem. If you look at any kinematic here, you're not going to have an issue at all with kinematics. Even your supercell composite out here, you can see your supercell composite is a 5. That's in the middle range of supercell composite. That's pretty good. But the instability in that area is only like 600. So if we had like 1,500 instability and we were talking about these storms firing at, 5, 6 p.m. Eastern, it would be a completely different story. We would have a very, very significant tornado threat with this setup. But that trough ejection's just poorly timed. So that is fantastic news. Look at that lower level jet. Look at that kick up rapidly, almost up to 80 knots in north central Texas, south central Oklahoma. That lower level jet ramps up very, very rapidly early Monday morning. But because it's in the morning hours, that instability you can see is barely even present. You have about 300 to maybe at the most, you're looking at 500 instability there. And then as you go into the afternoon hours, that instability tampers off rapidly in the middle, and you'll see a little instability access that hangs on up here in Kansas, Oklahoma, and then your primary warm sector that will hang on down here in Louisiana, Texas, and then eventually spread just a bit into Arkansas until eventually it pushes off into the Gulf Coast thanks to the next daylight cycle there. So doesn't look like a notable severe threat. Definitely primarily damaging winds. If we take a look at the NAM model here, more zoomed out, you'll see that main primary damaging wind threat. So really just a line of damaging winds, spin up tornadoes, and small hail. The greatest tornado threat will definitely be along the northern and the middle axis of that line, in between where your instability can push the furthest north and where you're going to have some cell mergers on the northern edge of that line. So that's where your tornado threat will be the greatest. You can see supercell composite here also agrees right in that area. Should be the greatest tornado threat. Your HRRR also agrees with that as well for supercell composite. So yeah, I think where they have that 5% chance for tornadoes, let's go ahead and look at that real quick. I'm pretty sure that's a really good spot. Yeah, that's a pretty good spot for a 5% chance right there. I don't see anything wrong with that. They do have it a little far west, though. That's pretty far west. But yeah, you can see they have that 5% chance for tornadoes right in between the far northern edge. Let me zoom y'all out a little bit. Right between the far northern edge of the line and the middle, your middle of the line's like right about here. So they have it just in between exactly where the middle is simulated to be and the northern edge is simulated to be. I wouldn't be too surprised if they pull that just a slight bit more to the north, just expand it just the tiniest bit more northward. And yeah, I don't think we'll see a 10% added. I'd be shocked if we get a chance for a strong tornado out of this setup. It definitely doesn't look like a setup that will produce strong tornadoes. Yeah, look at that. Really good placement on that 5% chance. It is, like I said, maybe a little bit too far west, and maybe not enough north, but generally a really good placement on that 5% chance for tornadoes from the SPC for tomorrow. So we'll definitely keep a very close eye on the SPC outlooks here. Mostly embedded nudges from the front line will produce brief spin-ups. If we get some embedded supercells, they'll probably still the same. Yeah, um, that's exactly what I agree with that. I don't think we have much strong tornado potential, but honestly, I mean, I wouldn't completely rule it out. It is 2024. And this will be an overnight setup, so not a lot of people will be watching it either. So it's, you know, if it does produce a strong tornado, it's definitely going to sneak up on us. But it would have to be a really good, perfect cell merge. If you guys can think back to when we covered that threat in southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, where we had a marginal risk and we ended up with a perfect cell merge and we had a pretty long track, strong tornado on a very low end day. You know, that could happen with a lot of and I mean like a lot of high shear, low cape environments. So all it takes is one storm to really establish itself in this environment, and it could very quickly produce a tornado, maybe even a strong tornado, depending on how high up that instability gets. But don't underestimate high shear, low cape environments. If a storm can tap into that mid-level atmosphere, you know, nothing's really going to be able to stop it with all that wind shear. Let's see here. What about Monday? What about Monday? What about it? Monday's threat, that's right here. Like I said, you're going to have 3 primary areas for severe weather. Monday morning and Monday afternoon, Monday evening, really the whole day of Monday. We're going to have a little break. So the morning hours from right about 4, more 5 a.m., 5 a.m. all the way towards about 11 a.m., we're going to have this line making its way through the DFW area. And then that's going to tamper off pretty quick. It shouldn't last very long. It should be very, very weak. After about 11 a.m., that instability is going to start pushing more to the south, and we should lose that instability for these storms to keep going beyond the 11 a.m. noon time frame. Then as you approach 3 p.m. Eastern, there's going to be 2 different areas to watch around that time frame. One's going to be on the far northwest side of that warm sector up towards Wichita, northern Oklahoma. And the other one's going to be out here in the far southern side of the warm sector, probably in and around the Shreveport area. So two areas to watch in the afternoon hours, and then you got that morning line of severe weather to deal with Monday morning. And this threat also could be a little bit more south. This definitely is going to vary. It could end up being a very overperforming risk up here in Oklahoma, Wichita, or it could be very underwhelming. It depends on the exact placement of that low pressure and how fast that low pressure is moving. That will determine if we could get instability that far north or not. Hello, Legacy. Glad to see you in here. And then talking about the snow side of thing, the dreaded snow word. I know a lot of people hate snow in the in like Nebraska and even Kansas. Nebraska, I found out Nebraska has quite a lot of snow haters. I found that out the other day when I was talking to one of my friends up there. He said his whole neighborhood absolutely hates snow. So it seems like Nebraska, you guys don't like snow too much. I mean, I wouldn't blame you. Central Nebraska could get like 6 feet of snow. But yeah, for a snowstorm out there, it doesn't look likely anymore. It doesn't look likely anymore that we'll see much of a snowstorm for Nebraska. I originally was thinking that would be the case, but the closer we got, the more it downtrended. So unfortunately, if you are a snow lover out there in Nebraska, it doesn't look as likely as what we first thought. We're mainly going to start turning towards this being our main snow chance here, which will be around the 21st of this month, so about 4 or 5 days from now. I guess it depends on where you are out there in Nebraska. You know, out here in Virginia, it depends on who you ask, right? Every state has snow lovers and snow haters. I don't think there's one state that specifically hates or specifically loves snow. I wonder what state hates snow the most. if I had to guess, probably either Minnesota or Iowa. That would be my guess. I would say either probably Minnesota or Iowa. Probably Minnesota. I just feel like, down here, further south, once you get in this area here, you're going to find a lot more snow lovers because we don't see a lot of snow. Maybe with the exception of, the higher elevations out here because you guys do see a lot of snow. But yeah, our main area for to watch for a snowfall potential and a snowstorm potential probably going to end up being the Midwest. It looks like so. What's going to happen is this trough ejection. It's not going to be slow enough. Okay, so our trough, we were originally expecting it to move very slowly. That's why, we talked about a big severe threat. About a week ago, we were mentioning this threat for severe weather because we thought it'd be a pretty big severe threat because of that trough timing. But our trough ejection is speeding up. That's allowing our severe threat to be completely overnight tomorrow night, which means our severe threat is definitely going to be lesser than originally expected. And also our cold air is poorly timed. You can see generally your blast of cold air is right about here, and your big snowstorm maker, what could be your big snowstorm maker, is already in Nebraska and Kansas. So that's a good, what, about 500-mile difference there. So unfortunately, it's not timed perfectly. You can see that big blast of cold air. It comes through right as your trough is leaving. Right as your trough's leaving, boom, there's your big blast of cold air. So if this blast of cold air happened just one day earlier, or if that trough ejection was just 12 to 16 hours slower, you guys would be getting, 2 feet of snow, literally a foot or two of snow in most of Nebraska. I mean, you can see the precipitation here. So we're doing just the basic 10-to-1 ratio here. You'd be looking at about a foot and a half of snowfall west of Omaha, if that were to happen. But unfortunately, it's just not timed properly. So that snowstorm that we were mentioning, about a week and a half ago, we were looking at it this far out. I mentioned on a video, I said the pattern's going to favor snow potential. Whether or not that happens, it's just going to depend on the timing. And unfortunately, it's not good timing for you guys out here in Nebraska if you love snow. Like I said, so that front goes through. If we pull back, there's the front going through. And you're in between 50 and 60 out here in Omaha. And then the next day, you're going to drop down to 33 or so degrees Fahrenheit. And then the next day, you're going to get even lower, even lower, even lower. And then eventually, it should start to get a bit warmer as we go towards the next cycle of severe weather potential. Which, according to the GFS, it should be about 230-ish hours out. I haven't looked at that, so really quick, we're going to look at that together. Just see if that shows anything. 230-ish hours out. That shows a little something, but not a lot of instability, so. It's going to take a big, perfectly timed trough in order for us to see severe weather. Which this one's definitely not at the one we're experiencing tomorrow night. Yeah, it's on its way, but it's definitely taken a little while, Ben. It's taken a little while. We have this week alone, this upcoming week, we're going to have 2 really good winter storm potentials. One is going to go completely to waste. I mean, look at that. If you're literally, if it's slowed down by just 16 hours, you guys would be absolutely dumped by 2 feet of snow out here. Maybe even a little bit more southeast than that. But because it's not going to go that slow, Canada's going to steal all your snow. And look at Canada up here. How much do you guys get? Yep, there you go. Almost 2 feet of snow. So Canada's going to steal that snowstorm potential. And then as we go towards November 21st and 2nd, this is definitely eyeing, I'm definitely eyeing this for like my area. I would definitely be keeping an eye on this because this snowfall could sneak in towards the mid-Atlantic So definitely going to keep an eye on that. If you live in eastern Tennessee, eastern central Kentucky, all of Indiana, all of Ohio, all of Michigan, western Virginia, western North Carolina, I would definitely be watching this upcoming system as we go towards November 20th, November 21st. The 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd. Jeez, this hangs it around for like a full freaking week. Look at that. It comes in on the 20th, and then it stays on the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, and then finally gets out of here as another system pushes through. Let me check the CPC site really quick. Oh, don't worry. I don't think I'm gonna actually steal your snow. I'm gonna watch it, but I wouldn't even get my hopes even close to up in my area. But let me show you that snowfall potential. So this is your risk for heavy snowfall. Shoot. For the 23rd, right around the timing of the 23rd or so. And let me switch you on the wrong scene again. So all of Michigan is in that risk for very heavy snow. Northeastern Wisconsin, northeastern Indiana, northern Ohio, a good chunk of the Appalachian Mountain Range here, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Virginia, and all of where we normally see lake effect snowfall up here, Buffalo, New York, Cleveland, up towards Watertown, New York. All y'all are inside that better risk for heavy snowfall, a moderate risk. So that's your slight risk, which is about a 20% chance for heavy snowfall. That's your moderate risk in the light pink. That's about a 40% chance for heavy snowfall. And we don't have a high risk yet. I don't think we'll see a high risk. I don't think they're really going to change this much, honestly. Last week, this risk for heavy snowfall was actually positioned out here towards Nebraska, this area or so. But now they moved it way over here. Not only have we gotten closer to the point where we figured out we're barely going to see snow in Nebraska, Kansas, South Dakota, but we're getting also close enough to the point where we're looking at another snowstorm potential. Now watch this one disappear too. What if we just keep on doing that? This snowfall potential, we were getting close to it, realized it wasn't going to happen. Boom, they removed the risk. This snowfall potential, we're still a little far from it. If we get closer and it disappears, I mean, what if we just could just keep doing that pattern? Far out, it looks like snowfall, and then the closer we get, boom, it's just rain. So I wouldn't get my hopes too high up if you're out here in that slight risk. Now, if you're in the moderate risk lake effect areas or in the higher elevations of West Virginia, Pennsylvania, I'd be pretty shocked to not see those two areas get some snow. Maybe not snowstorm equivalent. I know a snowstorm warning in Buffalo. I think you guys have to get like 9+ inches of snowfall in Buffalo for you to get under a winter storm warning. Criteria is different in different areas. A winter storm in Louisiana, northern Louisiana, that's probably like 4 inches of snowfall. A winter storm in, for instance, Buffalo, New York, it's probably closer to a foot of snowfall. So it's different criteria. A winter storm. There you go. Winter storm warning is different for some areas. It switches around for different regions. Yeah, a couple feet, maybe. It may even be a couple feet. They don't get the foot daily now, buddy. They didn't get a foot today, and they didn't get one yesterday. Let me go over to your ensemble here. So this is your ensemble, and oh my word, look at that. Rest in peace, snowfall lovers out there in Nebraska and Kansas. I don't think I could go back. Yep, I can't go back further enough. But if you tuned into the live stream like 4 or 5 days ago, Nebraska was. I mean, you guys had a really good chance for snowfall, and now it's all gone. It all moved away. It migrated east. It migrated towards New York, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. It also migrated more north, too. It also went all the way up towards North Dakota, Canada. So, yeah, I don't like winter. I do not like winter. Forecasting it is horrific. So, anything more than about 2 to 3 days out, about 3 days out, it's just terrible for forecasting winter storms. So, you just got to recognize the pattern. And we're definitely going into a winter storm pattern, okay? Definitely acknowledge that. You are going, somebody out here is going to see a big winter storm within the next probably 2, maybe pushing 3 weeks. We're going into a winter storm pattern. You could see it on the GFS. See this blue, what the heck? Purple line. That's what we call the 540 line. That is what is basically the freezing point for temperatures in the upper atmosphere. That's your millibar, 5,400 millibars. And if we go ahead and pull this out, look at that 540 line. It divots all the way towards Tennessee for November 21st, which allows a snowstorm chance out there in the eastern side of the U.S. Then as we go towards November 25th, here it comes again. The 540 line divots further south, and that's going to give a chance for snowfall further to the south. And you can see the GFS brings a winter storm into Missouri, into Illinois. And look at that. That is exactly what I was talking about with your winter storm forecast that we did. Having a low pressure center that divots down further south, just like that. That is exactly what I was talking about for winter storm potential this season for the Midwest. Me getting snow. Oh my goodness. We're just trolling, aren't we, GFS? Oh heck no, I ain't getting an inch of snowfall. No way, not in a billion years. But look at that. That's a really good sign. You know, if you're a snow lover out here in the Midwest, this is a really good sign that my winter forecast just might verify. Seeing a map that has snowfall on it that's this far to the southeast, that's a really good sign. Will it happen? No. To this extent where we have this much snowfall over the Midwest on December 2nd, no. No, it's the GFS, okay? Don't take it seriously. But like I said, we're recognizing the winter pattern. We've been in, obviously, a more spring and fall-like pattern. Now we're getting into winter, towards the middle of November, which is what we're at. So I think we're finally in the winter pattern. That big trough projection that pushed through the U.S. In the last couple days, that's what is going to bring us into that winter pattern. And this trough's also going to help with that, too. I'll bet $50 super chat in Nebraska gets the first blizzard. That Nebraska will get the first blizzard. I hate to break it to you, but we already had a blizzard in New Mexico, so... yeah, you didn't get the first blizzard. Our first blizzard was northeastern New Mexico, southeastern Colorado, which I do consider that a blizzard east of the Rockies. Which is why I really wanted to cover it, but I was sick. I'm still sick. I'm still sick. Trusting the next 2 to 3 weeks on the GFS is interesting. Yeah, no. I'm not trusting it one bit. But like I said, the pattern that we're going to go into, you could see it here on your GFS ensembles as well. If I go here, winter. Yeah, see, look at that. Look at all the gray. That gray is a chance for snowfall towards the end of November, beginning of December. Look how far south that goes. So we're definitely getting into a better pattern for snowfall potential. But until we get closer, we'll just It's pure guessing on who will actually see a good snowstorm. I do think. See, that's tricky. That the only reason why it's tricky to say if we're gonna see snowstorm in the Northeast is because I don't know what's considered a snowstorm towards Buffalo. Because if we zoom in here, you can see the GFS has widespread 8 inches to a foot of snowfall in some higher elevations of Pennsylvania, southwestern New York. So, yeah, and that's over the next, you know, from like November 22nd to November 23rd. So, yeah, all good, Catman. We're just talking about snowfall potential in the U.S. Should get a pretty good chance for a snowstorm to close out November. Our first snowstorm chance was it's literally tomorrow. Starts tomorrow all the way towards like November 20th, but unfortunately, that's going to go to Canada. Somehow that trend went from Kansas to Colorado to Nebraska to South Dakota to North Dakota and Canada over the last week and a half. Our next snowstorm potential is now going to be out here, generally in this area. Maybe a little bit more northeast as well. And then to close out November, I can't say exactly where the chance will be. That's definitely way too far out to say, but somewhere over here we're going to have a risk. Might as well circle the whole 48 states, right? Hello, Peachy. Welcome to the stream. Glad to see you in here. Buffalo averaged like 5 feet a year. I wouldn't be surprised if it's more than that, Ben. But Buffalo has to be like one of the snowiest places outside of mountains that we have in the U.S. Obviously, we have like the higher elevations of Arizona, New Mexico. Y'all get like 4 or 5 feet per year as well. I mean, I can't tell you if you will or won't see snowfall in New Jersey, but there's no solid chances yet. I don't see any good chances. Most of the chances for snowfall that I see cut off like right about here. This is the area I'm watching for snowstorm potential towards the end of November. This area right in here. I don't think it will be any more south or east than that. But like I said, that's so far out. I'm just basing it off of the pattern. I'm just simply basing it off of the pattern that I see on the GFS. And the GEFS ensembles as well. But just know, I'll continue to update you guys on snowstorm potentials, and we're gonna have a lot of snowstorm potentials that just disappear. That's something you're gonna have to remember. So, just keep that in mind. If it's not 48 to 72 hours out, then don't take it seriously. You gotta be like 48 hours away in order to tell how much snow is actually going to be able to happen. Typically, it does, Ben. Lake effect snowfall comes out of nowhere a lot of the times. Especially the amount. Like, you can see it. You could generally see lake effect snowfall from pretty far out. But being able to forecast if it's going to be 2 inches of snowfall or 2 feet of snowfall is very difficult. For instance, if I show you the GFS here, look how much the GFS changes between runs. I'm going to do 4 runs. Keep an eye near Buffalo and Cleveland. Watch the forecasts change on the GFS model. There's 00Z, 06Z, 12Z, completely dissipated like half the snow chances for Ohio right there. And then 18Z, Ohio's barely even in a chance for snowfall on the GFS. So that's how quickly it changes. That is how quickly your winter storm potential can just dissipate on model runs. Here's your European model, by the way. This is also really good winter model run here. And I mean, it still shows a large area of snowfall potential. So, you know, hopes aren't completely gone. Definitely not completely gone for a good chunk of Indiana, all of Ohio, western Pennsylvania, western New York, higher elevations of Vermont, New Hampshire, western Virginia, western North Carolina, eastern Kentucky, and then, of course, far northern North Dakota into Canada. But saying how much snow will occur with either one of these snowstorms is near impossible. Just know that we're gonna have a snowstorm generally up in this area sometime. What is it? It's Saturday, so in the middle to latter half of this upcoming week, we're gonna have a snowstorm up here. Totals are very unclear, and then very late next week, we're gonna see a snowstorm somewhere over here. Whether it be literally an inch of snowfall for Ohio or a foot of snowfall for Buffalo, too far out. The whole point in me ranting about that was really just to show you guys the snowfall potential, as well as to remind you, don't listen to snowfall forecast beyond like 72 hours out. But back to severe weather. If those for those who are just joining in and haven't seen the severe threat, I'll go over it once again. Or we will start out with our SPC outlook. So for tomorrow, we do have a risk for severe weather. We have a marginal risk level 1 out of 5 for severe weather, and a slight risk level 2 out of 5 for severe weather that is in place. The SPC has gone ahead and issued that 5% chance for tornadoes in the Brown area here. This includes Abilene, Texas, Sweetwater, Snyder, Wichita Falls, Seymour, Texas. They did up that to a 5% chance for tornadoes. Damaging winds tomorrow will be the biggest issue. Could have an isolated gust of 70 miles per hour in that yellow 15% chance area. And then some isolated small to large hail, 1 to 1.5 inch in diameter, will be possible as well. Monday, we have another risk for severe weather. Multiple different areas that I'm watching here. For the morning hours, we're going to be watching in and around the DFW area. For the afternoon hours, around 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be watching the northern setup towards Kansas and Oklahoma. And then from about 3 to 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be watching the southern warm sector out here in Texas, Louisiana, maybe as far north as into southern Arkansas. And that will probably spread into Mississippi too. It's going to be more like that. To show you a forecast here on the HRRR model run. Of course, this is a simulated look at what the radar could be tomorrow. It's going to change, and it's going to look a little bit different. But if we go ahead and pull this on out, we're going to go all the way until, believe it or not, this is midnight. This is midnight right here, still going out on this model run. And we finally start to see the risk for severe weather to start to uptick towards 1 at 2 a.m. Eastern, way out here in southwestern, or rather west central Texas. West central Texas, we finally get that risk to kick up. 5 a.m., that line continues to push eastward. Damaging winds, very isolated, small to large hail, and a couple spin-up tornadoes, maybe even a brief, strong tornado, will all be a possibility overnight tomorrow night into very extremely early Monday morning. And then, like I said, as you go towards about 10 a.m., that line's going to push through the DFW area. That's the reasoning for that slight risk for severe weather Monday morning. And then as you go towards Monday afternoon, like I said, we're going to watch that northern side up here in Kansas and Oklahoma, as well as in that southern warm sector right out in this general vicinity here. So you have 3 areas to watch. You have the first risk, which will happen in the morning hours towards the DFW area, mainly damaging winds, brief spin-up tornado, and very small hail possible. Next risk will be up here in Kansas, Oklahoma. Very small hail, maybe some damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, and a couple brief tornadoes will be possible. And then I think Monday's primary risk is going to be in the afternoon hours, or rather in the evening hours, towards about 5, 6 p.m. Central Time out here in far eastern Texas, mostly into Louisiana, where we could see a couple tornadoes, very small hail, and, weak damaging winds. I think hail and damaging winds will be the least of the concerns out of this risk. Except for in the morning hours. In the morning hours, we're going to have that line go through the DFW area, primary risk damaging winds. But these two areas here, it's going to be primarily really just a tornado threat on both of those primary areas. And then here, it's going to be more that all hazards threat. So the limited instability and high wind shear will allow to mainly a tornado threat in this area. And then it will be an all hazards threat towards the DFW area. And then the decent instability with a little bit weaker wind shear should allow for mainly a tornado threat and a wind threat out here further south. I disconnected that USB again. I want to look at the wind shear further. Ooh. You know, that might actually be a way better setup than I originally thought. You're not really having much of a lack in ingredients there, are you? If I could take this here. I want to get it sounding like right there. LLJ isn't good. Let's see. Yeah, buddy, it is pretty good. In my eyes, anything greater than 35 knots is a good lower level jet. And then up here, it's also about 40 knots. And then back down here towards Dallas, once that line pushes through, it's like 70 knots. Yeah, that's definitely a good sounding. Little lacking on lapse rates, but that's to be expected when you have minimal instability. But that's a solid setup right there in Louisiana. So I definitely would not be shocked if we see a 5% tornado risk somewhere in here. Somewhere in here for Monday. So again, I'll go over the risk. So this is a risk for tomorrow night. Primarily, you're going to be looking at 1-inch hail to 1.5-inch hail, 70-mile-per-hour winds, and then in the 5% area, we're going to be looking at multiple tornadoes being possible overnight, tomorrow night into Monday morning. And then finally, as you go into Monday morning, after 8 a.m., this is after 8 a.m. Eastern, we're going to be dealing with definitely damaging winds as the primary threat in and around the DFW area. A weak spin-up tornado can't be ruled out, and maybe some very, very small hail. Then as we go towards, like I said, about the 2, 3 p.m., towards about the 5, 6 p.m. time frame, it should be about a 2 to 3 hour event where we have a window of damaging winds possible. Very small hail, probably not even much of a hail threat, and then a brief spin-up tornado. And then, of course, we'll have that other threat in Louisiana and Texas. So quite a few areas. I mean, there's like 3 areas of severe weather to watch Monday. Pretty much nothing's going to happen tomorrow. Everything is going to happen after midnight tomorrow night. You're really looking at like 11 p.m., midnight, and on for the entire event. Because towards like 1, 2 a.m., storms will start firing out here. Then they'll grow upscale. Primary event will be 3, 4 a.m., maybe pushing 5 a.m. as well. Then 6, 7 a.m., you're getting west of DFW. 8, 9 a.m., you're going towards the DFW. 10, 11 a.m., your storms are dying out. And then, after 2 p.m., boom, Oklahoma, Kansas risk starts firing. 3, 4 p.m., Louisiana, Texas risk starts firing. So it's all Monday. Everything's going to be Monday. Even though we have a risk technically tomorrow, we don't actually have a risk in Eastern time. UTC time, we got a risk tomorrow. From 12 UTC to 12 UTC, that's your SPC's valid categorical risk time frame. So it's not from 0Z to 0Z. It's from 12Z to 12Z. Which means midnight isn't technically the end of the day, according to the Storm Prediction Center's categorical risk. But yeah, just to do a recap on the live stream, we just did a recap on the severe threat. We'll also be looking at a snowstorm potential in the northeastern side of the U.S. as we go towards November 21st to November 23rd. And then at the end of our month, there's still signals of a snowstorm happening somewhere in the U.S. So we've got severe weather happening technically all of Monday. Then we got a snowstorm that we'll be tracking. I don't really know what day those two are, honestly. A snowstorm will be tracking Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then after that, we're going to do a full reset. We'll probably have a risk for severe weather appear sometime very late next week, and another snowstorm potential very late next week, as well as tropics are going to be quiet too. We do have Tropical Storm Sarah out there, but after that, it's going to be a very inactive rest of your tropical season. 14 or so days left of your tropics, y'all, and then we're done. Hurricane season's finally closing out. We're getting towards winter season, which honestly, I gotta be honest, I can't wait to track winter. I've done a lot of changes to overlays that will make it a lot more fun to track winter storms. So to be honest, I'm really looking forward to tracking winter storms with y'all. Definitely looking forward to it a lot more than I was last year. And yeah, Sarah's going to dissipate over the Yucatan Peninsula. It will become an issue for Florida, but it will be a remnants of Sarah. It won't be its own, it won't be Sarah. It will be the leftover Sarah remnants. And those will hit Florida probably around the morning hours of Wednesday. But I don't think it's going to be that notable of a threat for Florida, mainly just rainfall. Very heavy rain. You never know, Ben. December can squeeze out a tropical storm. You never know. But I think our primary season's done. This was our last good potential, and unfortunately, it was actually quite impactful. Honduras saw, I'm pretty sure, over 30 inches of rainfall. A lot of rain in Honduras. Ever seen what, Legacy? A tropical storm in December or January? Yeah, yeah. But all right, if you guys have any questions about what I talked about in this live stream, anything that I need to clear up that was maybe a little confusing, put them in the comments. I'll answer it. But we're about to wrap this up in about 3-4 minutes. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit that like button on your way out. We're going to have a live stream tomorrow to talk about the severe threat, but we probably won't cover it. To be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to plan on staying up till 4, 5 a.m. For a severe threat. I didn't do it with a high risk in 2023. I don't plan on doing it for a slight risk in 2024. But Monday we'll definitely end up covering. We'll definitely end up covering Monday's threats. So we'll be live tomorrow for probably an hour, maybe 2. We'll definitely cover Monday's threat, especially the threat in Louisiana, Texas. I think that's going to be worth covering unless it downtrends a lot. So we'll monitor it. If it downtrends, then maybe we won't do a stream Monday, but we're going to plan on a live stream tomorrow and Monday as well. The college due page above my face cam. That's actually a different monitor. I like my overlays. If you don't like my overlays, oh well. I like to be different. All the other weather YouTubers use the same freaking overlay. I'll make my own. I'm gonna be different. Plus, I'm not here for all the sparkles and entertainment. I'm here just to talk about the weather and hopefully help people along the way. Let's see here. Thank you, Ben, but I have a feeling you're saying something different about that one. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up. Oh, wait, I did see Jake say something. Has any part of Indiana hit freezing yet? You mean like this year or like today or what? I'm sure you guys did a while ago, probably with our last cold front. I'm sure y'all did. But this week since fall started, I don't think so. I don't think so. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to it, honestly, but I don't think so. But there is a really good chance Indiana, some areas of Indiana will get towards freezing Thursday morning. You'll be right on that edge of like 34 to 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So I think you've gotten close, but I don't think you've actually hit freezing. But that's going to be it for this live stream. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for watching. It's greatly appreciated. We will be back here tomorrow for an hour or two live stream, and then we'll most likely be here Monday as well, unless Monday's threat downtrends. And then I'll probably end up taking a break Tuesday, and then we'll end up having winter storm coverage. Hopefully it's a decent winter storm. You know, if it's going to drop an inch or two of snow, we're not covering it. But if it's a decent, severe, or rather decent winter storm, we'll definitely cover it. So tomorrow, probably 6 p.m. Eastern. 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. We'll go live tomorrow. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you have a great rest of your night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe, watch the severe weather, watch the tropics and the snowfall. Goodbye. Stay safe, watch the severe weather, tropics, and the snowfall. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Have a great rest of your night. Goodbye.